Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. Last week's episode, I said Soap Goes to the Movies. Obviously, Soap Goes to the Movies. That's dumb. Anyway, this is the last film of the 1928 to 29 nominees, and it is also the one that won. The movie's called The Broadway Melody, also known as The Broadway Melody of 1929. Another pre-code musical film. It was the first sound film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, or as they called it, an outstanding picture. One of the early musicals to feature a Technicolor sequence, which I didn't even remember. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. Today, the Technicolor sequence survives only in black and white. Okay, that's why. I rented this from Amazon. It was like not even $3. Directed by Harry Beaumont, starring Charles King, Anita Page, and Bessie Love. And I think on last week's episode, Charles King was also in the Hollywood Review of 1929. And I think I may have credited him with being Ukulele Ike in that movie. And I said he was very good. He sang Singing in the Rain. It was the first appearance of that. But that was actually Cliff Edwards. Charles King had a small part in the other movie, and he mentioned this movie. But I think I may have miscredited who Ukulele Ike was. Not sure. I haven't gone back and listened. Let's see. This was released in February of 1929. About 100 minutes long. Had a budget of $379,000 and box office of 4.4 million. Not bad. Anita Page played Queenie Mahoney. Bessie Love played Harriet Hank Mahoney. And Charles King was Eddie Kearns. Basic story of this one was that Queenie and Hank are sisters, and they have a sister act that they've done around, like local theaters, wherever they're from. They moved to New York City to make it on Broadway. Eddie is a friend of theirs and like a boyfriend to Hank, and he's already in the business. He's written a new song called The Broadway Melody that his producer is going to turn into a review. And they have an uncle that lives in town in New York City that's also their manager, named Uncle Jed, played by Jed Prouty, original naming there. So they go, and Eddie assures them that he's going to get them into the show. So they go to basically try out for the producer. Zanfield is all they referred to him as, played by Eddie Keane. They kind of flub it. There's another woman there that doesn't like him and sort of messes up their audition. And the younger Hank is the older sister, and she can sing and dance. She has kind of the talent. Queenie is supposedly the more beautiful one. I didn't think she was that much more beautiful, but she was pretty. They were both pretty, but she's got the looks. So the producer basically wants her, but doesn't want the other one. Hank is sort of hot tempered and gets in a fight with the other woman that messed them up, and just barely squeaks it into the show, basically because Queenie begs the producer to let her in. So a lot of the movie is them working on the show and going through the various rehearsals and dress rehearsals, things like that. But there's also this sort of love triangle going on. Eddie starts falling in love with Queenie, even though he's dating Hank and plans to marry her. Meanwhile, there's another guy named, is he in here? Kenneth Thompson played Jacques Warner. He starts sort of wooing Queenie. Eddie doesn't like that. Gets mad whenever she goes out to see them. Things sort of fall apart for the whole group. Queenie and Hank start fighting more, and by the end of it, Hank realizes that Eddie's in love with Queenie, and she's trying to avoid being with Eddie because he's with her sister. So she's sort of going with the Jacques Warner guy, even though she doesn't really want to. So it all works out in the end. Spoilers. from 1929. Sort of kind of a basic sort of love triangle thing there. And then, some musical numbers mixed within, not as like sort of awkward as sometimes musicals can be where they just start singing. Like this is, they're all in on Broadway, so they're practicing songs and things like that. So it's a little more natural. And I don't mind the other way either, but this is just a little different than a, sort of like Grease or something like that. There's a lot on Wikipedia here. I'm not going to go through all that. So this, as I said, this one outstanding picture for the 1928 to 29 year. And I will say this was probably the best. This was the best of all the movies from this year that I watched. So I watched Alibi, or The Alibi, Hollywood Review of 1929, In Old Arizona, and The Patriot, as I've mentioned a couple of times, has lost to time, so that one can't be watched. So this one was the best. I think I enjoyed Hollywood Review a little more just because it was kind of fun, a little more comedy added in. Like in this one, they tried to add a little comedy with the Uncle Jed being a stutterer. So I guess that's funny. Overall, this was the best acted. Like I said, with Hollywood Review of 1929, it wasn't really a movie. It wasn't really acting. They were just performing skits and singing songs and stuff. So not really a narrative movie and not as much quote unquote acting involved. This one, everybody was very good, and yeah, definitely. I think of what I saw, I didn't see The Patriot, but of what I saw, I think this probably deserved to win the Best Picture that year. So this one was pretty good. As I said, I rented it on Amazon, so it is available there. I think it's on Apple TV and other streaming services as well, but only for rental at this moment in time. So, but not a bad watch for the price. I mean, $3, is not bad for that. Pay that at Blockbuster to rent a movie back in the day. So, this was pretty good. And I guess there were some sequels made later by MGM. Broadway Melody of 1936, 1938, 1940. Not direct sequels, but they had the same kind of premise. So there's more out there, I guess. And I have seen those pop up when I've been searching for things about this one. So anywho, this one was good. I liked it a lot. And that was the best of the bunch. Though, as I said, I may have enjoyed Hollywood Review a little more, but this one was good as well. The next time we'll be moving on to the 1929 to 30 range. So they were still doing the 2 year span there. And that lasts all the way up to 1933. 1934 is the first year where it's just 1934 movies. So up until then, it's a mix of 2 years each time. So next one is 1929 to 1930, and may have to rent a few more of those. A couple I found on YouTube so far, so we'll see how it goes. But as of now, I think I have access to all 5 of the next group. So that'll be coming next time. Later.